G'day, Vlad here. How's it going? So today I'll be versing a guy called Sniper, and this is the match I met him in. I joined his Discord. He's a very cool guy, very friendly, and a fellow Aussie. So we have arena. I start off with the Poles. He starts off with the Portuguese, and this game turns out to not be quite the standard arena game. We both go through really weird strategies, and there may be a glitch or two and a couple other exciting things to do. So you guys have seen me start off with my Dark Age many times. Let's have a little fast forward through his. Okay, so his deer are here, his sheep are here. Let's look at things from his point of view. So he's pretty much explored his base. Another skillful player. I judge players by their ability to lure deer, mostly because that's something I haven't learned how to do, and I probably need to learn how to lure deer before I go up to my next level. Maybe that's what I need to do before I get to 1200. So there we go. He doesn't look to be doing anything too out of the usual. Alright, very good. Gosh, that timing was pretty good, getting your second boar. It was almost as the first one ran out. Now this is something I missed. We're just having a little chat here. Have we played before? No. I'm usually a bit of a lower elo. So I thought his name sounded familiar, but maybe it was just someone with a name similar to Sniper. Now, Sniper, mate, please tell me why you built the house there. You're probably a better player than me, and I'm pretty new to playing at this elo, but what's with putting their house behind the lumber camp? Was it an accident? Was it a misclick? Is there some type of logical reason that my tiny brain can't think of? To me it just seems like sometimes the villagers want to deliver to the back, it might get in the way. But it doesn't look like it is. I mean, they've all got a direct line of walking to the lumber camp. I've never seen that. Please, if you're watching this, please drop a comment down below and tell us your reasoning for that one. Okay, so blue, that's me. I'm already researching feudal. So we'll see, what am I doing? I've got 8 on wood. I've got 3 on stone, and the west on different forms of food. So I'm asking if he's an Aussie, and he is. Nice. He inquired about how the weather is where I am. I'm from Adelaide, which is South Australia. So South Australia, if you look at the map of Australia, South Australia's in the centre and down the bottom. And he's in Brisbane, so that's the northeast of the country. Yeah, Australia is a beautiful place. Most of us live by the ocean. We're a very coastal country. He says join Discord after. He's got a team, and he does, and it's a great bunch of guys over there. If he wants, he can share his Discord in the comments down below. More than welcome to. It's good to be a member of several communities on Age of Empires, because it's just nice to have someone to play with if you want on team games, like any time of the day or night. In my Discord, usually there's someone on all hours of the day. Okay, so he just went up to feudal. Once these 2 buildings are up, I'll be clicking up to castle. Alright, so this is very crowded around this woodline. I wonder if he means to build his TC somewhere else. Usually I build my TC with woodcutters. Looks like his woodcutters are busy. He's got a fair few on stone, so he'll probably be able to build a defensive castle. So we've both researched Castle Age, not far apart from each other. This is something else I've got to work on, which Sniper's doing well. He's very efficient with his berry use, where I take most of my villagers off off of berries when I've still got about 4 or 5 berry bushes. So I've got to work on my inefficiencies, but I play this game to relax, so I'll do it in a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years, whatever. So at about halfway to Castle Age, I usually gather my stone cutters and I drop a castle on the outside stone on Arena. That's if I'm going for this strat, which I'm doing now. So fast forward me over. Let's have a look at his resources. So he's got enough for a defensive castle, but he'll have to slow down on building his TC. There we go. Building a castle nice and deep. I like to get it right by the wall. So the reason I do a 1 gap space is because it's as close as possible to the wall without him being able to delete one wall tile and hit the castle with a ram. That's been done to me a few times, so now I keep a one tile gap. Alright, so he's got his defensive castle's going to be built in time. If I was going for cavalry, I could shoot a hole in here and then run in through here, but that's not my goal. In fact, I was anticipating the defensive castle. And it turns out that worked alright, because now he's not going to be able to go for a second TC. That's if he was. I've got a feeling he always intended to go for 1 TC. So Sniper, if you're watching, again in the comments down below, were you or weren't you trying to build a second TC? Were you planning on staying 1 TC or not? So he's got some organ guns, very nice. Over here I'm using market abuse to keep my eco going. So my goal is to continuously pump a petard and continuously pump 2 villages until I get a second castle. Then I want to do 2 petards at a time. So he's got a couple organ guns out. He's not garrisoning them in his castle, he's leaving them out here. Alright, here we go. So inside my castle, I've got 4 petards already, so this is going alright. His eco's looking alright. Mine's looking about the same. But when we look at the villager count, I'm on 39, he's on 35, so I've got a slight lead on villagers. Not a lot, just a little lead. I'm shooting down this gate, mostly to make him nervous. On Arena, if there's too many holes in the opponent's space, sometimes they get nervous and they expect an attack and they sort of overreact, and you can outboom them. So I've still only got 5 petards in there. I'll speed it up a little. Alrighty. So I'm building my second castle, so from the time that goes up I want 2 petards and 2 villages pumping at a time. So this is almost enough petards to take out the castle. I've got 10 of them. 10 is usually enough to take out a castle. I've got 12. I'll be launching this attack any minute now. Alright, Alright, we'll go slow motion. So this is a part that I want to show you what happens. He's got about 9 organ guns. I'm hitting him with about 14, 15 petards. So this castle should go down if all goes to plan. Let's see what happens. So we'll put it in slow motion. You can see instead of going straight for the castle base, my petards, even though I selected the castle, want to walk around and hit it from the front. See, so we'll see what damage this does. Look how much health that castle's got. If they had just hit the castle properly, that castle would be down and Red would be in a world of hurt. But instead, he's halfway up to Imperial Age. My petards didn't hit the castle like they're supposed to. They tried to walk right around the front and they just died to organ guns. Alright, that was very, very sad. So I decided to abandon that. I can't really get that castle down. So I see he's going, he's got these organ guns, he's just hit Imperial Age. So I try to build stuff out wide when on Arena if it looks like they get to Imperial Age first and take out my castles. That way it just takes them a while to sort of wipe me out. It lets me recover, it lets me counter things appropriately. So he's in Imperial Age, both my castles are here. So that is like $1,300 worth of stone. It's also 40 population space, and he's got a Treb there, so these castles are going to go down. I've accepted that. I'm not really going to try to defend it. In my base, I'm just booming like crazy and hoping it's enough. I'm building a second castle out the back, mostly because I want the unique tech. At this point in the game, I'm probably thinking this game's going to swing over to his favour. But I'm giving myself every chance. If I'm going to win this game, this castle's going to be a big asset just for the research. Unique techs. Okay, so now we look at the Vil count. He's on 45, I'm on 85. So I've got the big advantage when it comes to Vils. Although he's taking out my castles, and I'm going to be heavily house capped, sorry. This castle's about to go up, that's 20 pop. I'm going to build all these houses here. I'm building some stables here. So I want to get some cavalry. If I'm lucky, he will just attack with what he's got there, which is trebuchets and organ guns. And if I was him, knowing that he's stopped this early attack, he's in Imperial Age, I would just go straight for the throat here. So that's what I'm planning on. I'm just building as many stables as I can quickly. I want to get cavalry out, and hopefully I can delay this until I can get in a position where I can contest. I've got a huge villager lead, and I sort of knew I would have. So I know if I can stay in this game through this initial push and make it to Imperial Age, I've really got a good chance of winning this. But like I said, if he's super aggressive, he could wipe me out right here, right now. So I've built these stables. I'm going to mass a little bit of cavalry there as much as I can. And then I'm going to try to stop the bleeding. So he's got 3 trebuchets. Thankfully it takes him a while to unpack them. He's missing a few shots. Alright, that's nasty. Alright, here we go. The cavalry I massed is here. And thankfully it wins that fight. If they did not win that fight, it would have been GG for me. So I've had one thing not go in my favour, that was the retarded petards over here. Having to go around and attack this side of the castle instead of hitting it at the base closest. But I'm not too worried about that now because I broke off the initial attack. I'm still a long way from Imperial Age, but my eco is amazing. This is Red's whole eco. So it's not great, but he did have control of the game just up until now. So my eco spread all over this side of the map. Originally it was just a measure to sort of slow down the spread to my main base, but now it's actually quite an asset. Maybe like 1/3 of my eco. My eco at home's booming. Look at all these gold miners. I still haven't researched Imperial Age. I'm going to try to get militia in case he comes in with spears. So I want to stay alive. And I don't know what he has, so I'd rather keep a bigger military, one that can beat his military, and slowly work my way to Imperial Age. At the moment the Vil count is 64 to 149. So the longer this game goes for me, in my head, the more likely I am to win. So I'm happy to not fight if he doesn't want to fight. And he's probably lost that initiative from when he rebounded. That rebounding shot at me was probably his best best chance. And luckily, it fell in my favour. Look at all these idle veals. Just hiding behind houses, 11 of them. That's when I was getting housed. When he took out my castles, I lost 40 pop space. So I was just sending veals everywhere to build houses to recover. Alright, so we're now on 151 veals to 58. So I've got a huge villager lead. My eco's booming. I've got a lot of gold backed up. His resources are all pretty low, which is usually a good thing. It means you're spending what you have, and you're performing at close to the best you can. So back over here, I've got a lot of wood, a lot of gold. I've added men-at-arms to my military mix. I've got a reasonably strong military, about equal to his. His are hiding behind 2 castles though, so that's something he's got going for him. I've clicked Imperial Age. I'm creating more men-at-arms. He's just creating 2 organ guns and a villager at a time. So it's starting to really swing in my favour here. Alright, so he's researching ballistics, he's researching the saw, and he's researching murder holes. Good tech, especially when the gate opens right between his castles. There we go. I've reached my population limit of 200. Let's see how he's doing. So he's on 84 pop. He's got about 100 less villagers than me. His military is a little bit smaller but much more powerful. He's got bombard cannons and he's sort of stuck in his base. At this point I didn't really know what he was going for, but I knew he had pretty strong defences in his base. I'm now building farms in the middle of the map. I don't care if those villagers die, I'll just print more. So that's a decent chunk of organ guns now. Alright, so this is going to be my attacking force. So meanwhile, I'm researching the trample damage, the crop rotation, wheelbarrow. I'm printing about 4 light hussar at a time. Almost run out of this gold pile, but there's plenty of resources out here, and it looks like I'm going to get first dibs. So I've built a siege workshop, I've built monasteries. That's something to look at. I built a monastery next to each relic, that way I can just print out a priest, grab the relic, print out a priest, grab the relic, print out a priest, grab the relic, and over here I was going to build one here too, so I could just pop out and get the relics quick. Over in his base, this is something I forgot about, the Featorias. They're the unique units for his civilization, the Portuguese, and they actually gather resources but take up 20 population space. It did occur to me eventually that he had them, but they don't collect enough resources to be worth their population space unless you start running out of wood, stone, gold or food. So over here I realised I've got too many villagers, so I researched sappers and started attacking there. And simultaneously I'm attacking over here. I should have sent this attack earlier so that they can be at the same time. He's sending 1 organ gun over, which to be fair should be enough against villagers. Those villagers are just there to die anyway, so he was clever not to overreact. I'm attacking through here. So this is a meat grinder. I'm just sending my units in to die. I took out a fair few of his villagers with that Onager shot. Sorry, Mangonel shot. I took out a few more. This is outstanding value for the Mangonel. This attack was... I'd call that an even attack. I took out a fair few villagers. So I'm still about 100 vils ahead of him. He's still on single TC from what I can tell. He's got a couple Featorias. It's out of gold to mine. Oh no, he's got a little bit of gold in his base. and he's surrounded. I'll switch to military view. So that was the first wave. I'm still over here attacking with villagers, mostly just to keep him occupied. I don't know what I'm thinking here. See, this is like the concept of a meat grinder in World War I, where they would set up a really solid defense, have artillery, have guns and stuff, and when wave after wave of soldiers would come, they would just die to that. So it's a similar thing here that he's got going on. He's got 2 castles. It's almost like a tower defense game even. He's got the spears to take out the horses. He's got the organ guns, he's got bombard cannons, so even if I came with trebs, he could just move those forward, snipe the trebs, back off. A really, really solid defense. So over here I've built a whole heap of siege workshops, I've built quite a few barracks, and I've got quite a few stables. I've got these siege rams, they're just going to die to the spears, but oh well. I've got the light cav. And at this point I've got a 2,000 point lead, so you'd think I'd be winning comfortably. But I seem to be losing a lot of troops and not really getting in. Okay, so I've got this massive cavalry here in. Maybe about 10 of them. And they just died. I got them in and they did no damage. That was really disappointing. This corner here seems to be impenetrable. Over here I'm not having much success either, but at least I got through the stone and in the wood. So he's starting to move his spears out a bit. And let's look at the kill to death. So I've killed 27 of his units, he's killed 170 of mine. Over here I'm fighting against his spears, and his spears seem to be doing okay. I've got a few men-at-arms, but mostly light cav, and I've got a few siege rams. So I'm not having a lot of success here. I'm trying to break through. I've got the relics, he's got Featorias. So resources we should be able to manage for a while. Okay, so this was actually a good attack. I finally got some units through to do some damage. It's an acceptable amount of damage, but nothing too scary. Okay, so here we go. I actually did quite well there, but it looks like he's just going to mop up all my units. Alright, the veal count is... he's got 26 veals, I've got 143. But keep in mind that the Featorias, he's got 3 of them, and that's 60 population worth of villages there. Not as effective as villages, but they're pretty good. So he's probably not going to run out of gold or stone. So I've got my villages in, but there's nothing to really do damage eco-wise, because most of his eco's through his Featorias. So that's really, really, really sad. So I've got all these siege rams. What am I going to do with them? I'm going to send them in unprotected so they die. So I've got cavalry constantly streaming through here, which isn't really doing anything, they're just dying. It's a big waste of food. And now it's 357 kills to mine 96. So I'm whipping him on the economy, he's whipping me on military strategy. That's my opinion. Here we go. Organ guns are such a good unit. I've never been able to make them work for me. I don't really know what counters them. I've been told mangonels, so that's partially why I've got so many siege workshops. I'm going to try to counter them with mangonels and onagers, but I haven't found there been a particularly helpful strategy. Maybe it's because I'm not very good at micro. So I'm starting to build more of a force again. I've got a lot of mangonels, I've got a lot of winged hussar, I've got a few men-at-arms. So I said stalemate, I think. He said, not really, wave 3, send it. I said no gold, even though I quite clearly have plenty of gold. I'm just playing mind games, that's part of war. He says he's got Featorias, he's probably feeling quite confident. He has taken the score lead. So I had a 2,000 point score lead. He has now a 2,000 point score lead. So quite a big swing in that direction. Got all these onagers. And let's see how this goes for me. So I figure this is a very strong point. I probably want to hit here, but I want to take out as many of these organ guns as I can. They're really causing me a problem. I know I've probably got more resources than him, but it doesn't matter if I keep dying anyway. Alright, let me see. He's got 4 bombard cannons, so they should be able to do a lot of damage to this if he plays it carefully. You also can't afford to ignore those 30 Winged Hussar. So I want to get rid of his villagers and his TC if I can. I know he's relying on these 5 Featorias, but without villagers to rebuild and a TC, he can't build houses or military production units. And over here I just want to take out as many of these units as I can and just hit him with wave after wave. I think this is about the 3rd wave, maybe the 4th wave. The castles are just mowing down my units before they get into his base. Gosh, this is nasty. So the kill to death is, I've killed 164 units, he's killed 512. So I'm starting to mass some stuff up again. As you can see, I'm researching chemistry, I'm going more man-at-arms heavy, and I'm building lots of light cav. So at this point I want my own bombard cannons. It seems like that's the only way I'm going to be able to break through this siege. So my plan from now is to come in with a big force, micro my Winged Hussar to just take out these bombard cannons and use my bombard cannons to take out all this. So I also want the man-at-arms to protect my siege. I know he's got a lot of spears. So my eco now covers all of the map except for here, and seeing as he's not going for fast units, it's going to be very hard for him to kill me. It will just be very time consuming for him to totally snuff me out. So at this point of the game I've got control of all of the resources, so I don't want to spend all of the resources, and I don't want to give him too much time because he's just going to have an infinite supply of gold and stone. But I've got this big army, and I think there might not be the pop space. Oh no, I've got some bombard cannons. Sending it forward with the onagers. I don't really care if they die, they've done their business. Alright, so I go in with the light cav, I try to sneak around the back. He won't let me. He's got a bombard tower. They're pretty rare in ranked. I wish I saw them more. I used to love them single player Age of Empires as a kid. I thought they were unbeatable. Alright, so I'm attacking at his fields. I'm coming in at the man-at-arms. Oh, he's got so many organ guns. Alright, kill to death. He's killed 561 to my 171 units. So I've come in with the bombard cannons. He's got his organ guns, he's got his bombard cannons around here. And he might be trying to hit my bombard cannons. Alright, this is probably the best attack I've done so far. That castle's going to go down. And it crumbles, so from here on out his defense is not as good. I don't have to fight under 2 castles around here. He's got hardly any villages. He's got Featorias, which are less productive than villages per population. I've got control of the resources. Things are starting to move in my favour. So over here I've got 17 bombard cannons. I've got Winged Hussar to do damage. I've got men-at-arms to protect the bombard cannons. And it's just like raining bombs on them. Oh my goodness. So it looks like I'm finally going to have some success after just sending in unit after unit to die. Look at this, what a meat grinder. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bombard towers and a castle. So anywhere there is just a meat grinder for my units. Oh look, I'm walking right into it. Dangerous ground to tread on. Alrighty, it seems at this point that I'm going to catch up and I'm going to win. That's what I was thinking. So this game has had a few momentum switches. Put it on fast forward. At this point, if I were him, I probably would have resigned. So Bombard Tower's gone. Alright, some raiding over here. He's pretty much dead. This is his whole eco. No one's working. Everyone's in the back. So at this point I chuck in a why won't you die, because he has been pretty resilient. He put up with like an hour and 20 minutes of constant pressure. And I laughed and said it is good to be the king. And after this we had a chat. He says GG, but we had a chat. I joined his server. We played a team game. I think we won. We just had a really good time. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And let's look at the statistics. So he won military, I won everything else. In the end, it was 849 kills to 454. And keep in mind, once the straw broke the camel's back, I got a lot of kills at the end, which were cheap, easy kills. But military strategy-wise, he absolutely dominated me. He just kept me coming into a meat grinder. And like a dog to its vomit, I just kept sending units in to die for so long before I finally adjusted. Largest army, I had it, but it was pretty close. I raised a lot of buildings, he raised 3. Eco, I won across the board. That's because I had like over 100 more villages than him at one point. He made it to Imperial Age about 15 minutes before me. That is really, really impressive, but I beat him to Feudal and Castle Age. Gosh, reaching Imperial Age about 15 minutes before your opponent is really, really good. I don't think I've ever hit the 25-minute Imperial Age like he has. So I had more castles, more relics captured. I had almost 4,000 relic gold. Usually I don't go for the relics, but because I had the control of the area in this game, I went for them. Maybe I should go for them more often if they're going to give me 4,000 gold. This is the timeline. Lots of death and carnage during this game, and eventually I get the win. Probably against an opponent more skilled than me. Anyway, have a great night. See you next time.